Welcome back to Indigo's Ideas. Pick back up with us on part 2 of our first episode, What It Means to Be a Mama. Listen up.
And all of this is made possible by the fact that we all have come together based off of some basic principles. Okay, we had an understanding because this community couldn't be built if we didn't kind of operate on some kind of principle, right? Because in this world right now, we can't just say we're going to do this with any and everybody. I'm not going to leave my children with anybody, but because we had common values, we had some common, not just interests, but these are like life, just the way that we live with integrity and based off of the Nguzo Saba. Like this is a way of life, not just a thing that we do at Kwanzaa. It's how we live. And I think that's what surprises some people when they come to Kwanzaa and then they see us elsewhere or when we're doing something else that's not related. That's not Kwanzaa, but we're out doing things together because we've built our community on these principles that are every day, all day, every day, throughout the year, things that we have in our minds. We're not saying the words all year long. We're not saying, oh, don't forget to be Umoja today. No, it's just what we do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what drew us together. Like we're drawn together based off of that. Like we came together at Kwanzaa. That's how we met.
Those common principles that you talk about, I want to say that though, because even people think that, I don't know what people think. Let me rephrase that, but people may assume that we all think exactly the same about everything, because they see us as a collective,
Right.
Not realizing like, no, we all, we're different. I'd be like, oh yeah, that was Yaya and Dara. That was what Mama J said, it's Mama J all day, or whatever. But it's the common. If you got 3 or 4 good, strong, common principles,
Right.
all the other stuff almost doesn't matter as much. You know what I mean? Because I trust you. We have common values, so I don't care that I'm trying to think of something. This might be a bad example, but I don't care that you like the red lipstick and I like the pink. That's just a frivolous example. You know what I mean, or whatever. But that's not the thing that's the make or break of this a sisterhood or and then this collection of mamas. You know what I mean? It's that shared values, and it had me thinking about even more deeply, this how do we become mamas of indigos and all this other kind of stuff. And we think about motherhood as the nurturing piece, and we forget that the mother is in the creation zone. She is a creator. And
Okay.
it would always kind of get me in a way like when you, for example, like if you read the Bible, whenever a woman is brought up, it's always connected to her, either her sexuality or her so Mary, for example, is known because she gave birth to Jesus. There's a prostitute in the Bible named Rahab who saved the whole people in the Bible, but she was known as the prostitute. You know what I mean? As the harlot. You know what I mean? And you got Mary Magdalene. So it's always our connection. A lot of times, how are we sexually? Have we given birth? Are we the virgin? Are we the prostitute? Are we the and we can easily just put ourselves in those roles. And as you were talking about values, I was like, values, that falls under like ma'at. Ma'at is a feminine, is you know what I mean? But she orders the whole universe.
Orders it.
Brings chaos into order. You know what I mean? And she's high up, like she's like part of creation. And so we also have to remember, when I think about us in our role of Mamas of Indigo, it's like the creative aspect. You all, as the founders of, as the Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective, like that was that was an act of creation.
That's
That
right.
was a moment of, where a lot of chaos came together. The chaos of the universe came together to create, and there shall be Kwanzaa here in 2010,
Here in
29
this
to October,
Greensboro.
And then
Mhm.
when Omi Ire was like, oh, now I can see the healing wheel. And then we all became like the mamas of that. You know what I mean? So there's a creative aspect. And so even though we're talking about our role as mamas or nurturing and just the women in general, we must not forget our role in creation.
Right.
Like what we create, what we write, what we speak, what we just
Yes.
everything. We bring the unseen into form.
Mhm.
Even if you think about what's in our wombs, right? You don't see that baby until I'm ready to push her out. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I mean, I know X-rays now I can see a lot, but you know what I'm saying.
No,
But
right.
no,
You can't.
you don't
You don't know.
see that moment of creation until that woman and that child are ready. You know, and so there's such a very, very, very powerful role to be a creator. To be a woman is to be a creator.
Yeah.
To be a mama is to
Put
be
a
a
period
creator.
on that.
Put a period on that.
Mhm.
What's the saying? I brought you in this world, I could take you out, sort of thing. The idea that I could bring either a human being or an idea
Mhm.
into life.
Yes.
And then set the whole, like my aunt, set the whole parameters around it.
Right.
This is what we'll do. These are the seasons that we'll do this. And, you know what I mean? It's such a profound thing to be a mama.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, a mama.
Wow. Wow, y'all are smart. Wow. Mm. Kuumba, right? Kuumba is creativity, making the world more beautiful, more rich than it was when you inherited it. A different way of a juxtaposition of that principle is that quote. Is it Muhammad Ali who said it? Service is the rent that I pay. Who said that? Who said that quote? My service is the rent that I pay.
Yeah.
Um, for life on earth or something like that. Tell us in the comments what the right quote is and who said it, if you know, please. And now see, that's part of, see how as a mama I don't it is Muhammad Ali. So as a mama, I don't pretend to know everything, right? My mother always say, look, I know what I know. And that is part of being a good mama, is knowing what you know. It's like, this is what I do know. I don't know that over there, but I'm gonna tell you what I know right here. My mother would say, I'm not talking about stuff I don't know. That's what she said. I'm not talking about stuff I don't know. But then she's silent on other moments where she's like, well, that ain't what I know. So I'm not gonna talk nothing about that. But I'm talking about this because I know this.
So that quote is attributed to Muhammad Ali, but it's really from Shirley Chisholm.
Oh wow.
It sounds like something Mama Shirley would say.
Oh wow.
Mama
Say
Shirley.
her name, right?
Yes, Shirley Chisholm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wonderful
Yes.
amazing things that Mama Shirley Chisholm
Service
did.
to others is the rent we pay for your room here on earth.
That's the quote. Thank you. That's what we do. We help each other. We gotta help each other out.
Well, even thinking about that, I was thinking as far as even when you were talking about the kuumba of it all, I was thinking about how we came to even decide that Kwanzaa was something that we wanted to do. Like I was thinking about how it came about. Just the whole idea of, oh, I think we should probably do this. This is probably a big idea. And it started out as just a conversation between Dawn and I. Because Dawn used to host Kwanzaa here at her house. And the house was one day, the last time you did it here, the room, I mean, it was like no room, standing room only, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip, like, oh my gosh. And we were like, we really need to, do this in the community. I remember that same year, I did one of the days. I hosted a day at my house, but I had just moved here, and my friends that lived in Randall, and I invited my neighborhood, my community. Like a couple of the neighbors, and one of my friends that I had met in Randleman, and they were like, that was their very first time knowing about Kwanzaa. But we were kind of deciding that we were going to You know, like when Dawn was like, well, we should probably do this for the city. And when we did it, it was like we realized, oh, wow, this is really dope. A lot more people really should want to know more about what Kwanzaa is. And I just think that it really kind of is like making a decision when you talked about the the creative force of the mother journey. You know, it's like making a decision that this is something that has to happen for. You know,
And
then
you just made me think about something because I just have to salute you all for for taking that leap because I think for a lot of women and particularly those who are mothers, we become risk adverse sometimes once you become mothers, right? Because it's like, well, what about the babies? I can't, you know what I mean? Like, let me, I can't, when I'm just single, I can be out here doing whatever, or taking risk and gambles. But when you have children, you really think about the steps that you're taking in a different way. So, but here's the thing: a woman who is never taking risk and a mother who's never taken risk can't change the trajectory of her life and her children's lives, right? So I think about how when you moved down here to North Carolina, like how big of a risk, like if you weren't able to do that as a mama yourself, as an individual, joining, saying I'm gonna start Kwanzaa in a new city, that would have been too. I feel like it could have been too daunting because you wouldn't have taken risk in your own individual life, right? And so I think part of the thing for us as women as a whole, and then those who uh, seek to be mamas, right? Whether biologically or in the community or just however, it involves risk. You know what I mean? It really does involve chances and taking and saying, wow, I see my family going in this direction, or I see my community going this direction. These are the risks that, we need to take. These are the opportunities because we can't grow without doing that. And I think sometimes as women that can be very, even down to little things like, you know, women having the courage to maybe go back to school, right? Or take that class or whatever it is. It's always like we think about, well, what will my husband think or my children, or can I take that time? And it's just like, but to be a woman who identifies as a mama, which means you identify as a creator, it involves risk. It involves risk. Wow. I feel like even that first Kwanzaa, when I first met you, homie Lade, I think you were just going back to school for your PhD. And it was like, I'm taking this gamble on myself. I'm taking this risk on myself. And taking that risk on yourself made you a better mama.
Yes, it did.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
expanded you as a woman, which expanded you as a mama in the community and as a mama to your own children,
Right. Because when you think of that, that's there's the wisdom in it, right? It's like the difference between intelligence and wisdom, right? Or book smarts, right? You can read books and go to school and get degrees and have intelligence, but wisdom comes from living, right? It comes from living and learning from the lessons of life, right? It comes from paying attention and being aware and experience and talking to people and observing people and interacting and and again learning from all of that. And so it's pulling it all together, and that requires risk and it requires creativity. I love that you introduced this idea, that you brought that to the conversation about risk, because risk is definitely one of the every time an artist creates, they're taking a risk. I think about sis Tyamika, right? We know Tyamika. It's just a beautiful artist, and I know that she's a painter, and I'm sure she would not. Painting is one of the things that she does. She's an artist, but I know she oftentimes shares very vulnerably about her feelings about creating and doing new pieces and venturing off into different pieces. She's doing um, bags, painting handbags and things like that, and painting on canvas. And I love how she shares, like I said, the vulnerability of it, the that there is a risk. Every time I decide to make a new painting, there's a risk. Will they like it? Will I like it? right? One of the things that she recently had posted, and I know I'm sharing all time big business, but she posted, I don't think you'll mind. I hope not, sister, because you know I love you. Um, and that's, and what I think is beautiful is she'll share, like, I have this canvas, I painted this piece, but I'm thinking about painting over it. You know, there's a risk, and she'll oftentimes post and get people's opinions and things like that. And like I said, there's a beautiful vulnerability in there. And that is all about this risk. Like, do I want to do this? Am I bold enough? Am I courageous enough? Am I talented enough? Am I good enough? You know, we always ask us those questions because that's very human. And every time we step out, whether it's to make a to paint or to go to school or to start an organization, right? Or to get initiated, you know,
Or
into to
to
make a new friend. There's always risk, and we're creating within that risk. Feel so, I got chills, right? Because this idea of risk, the risk, how risk is connected to creativity, right? And I don't think we give that, and we don't talk about that enough. We talk about creativity like, oh, yes, be creative, be creative, be creative. But creativity requires taking a risk. It reminds taking a risk on yourself. Like I said, it requires taking a risk with the community that I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be courageous and take this step and then I'm gonna show it to them. And are they gonna like it? And when somebody shows us their work, we're taking a risk too, because we're like, well, what if I say I like it and other people don't like it? Or what if I tell them, I don't like it? Are they open to criticism? You know, all of that. It's a beautiful thing, the connection between creativity and risk.
I even think about Yeye as a birth worker, as a RN, as a what's the official title?
The dancing RN.
The dancing RN. But you're in the room when babies come, into the world, and even that, you know, bringing life into the world is a risk.
Oh yeah.
Not every woman even survives it. Not
For
every
real, my
child even
God.
survives. So even when we talk about mothering as an actual, like, bringing physical life into the world, it is still a risk. Like, I was gonna say back in the day how many women were dying in childbirth, but I guess we can talk about how, even now, right?
Even now.
The maternal health, especially amongst Black women, in today's time, is still a risk. So for women, oh my God, for women to show up and say yes to bringing life into the world, to painting those pictures, paintings, and bringing them out, to writing those books, whatever it is that we're saying, oh my God, I'm gonna take this risk and bring this life into this world. I might not survive it.
Might not
Whether
survive
physically or even emotionally. Like, what if people don't like, even down to, look, we've all seen newborns that weren't our own, and we're like, oh. But that mama is like, isn't she beautiful?
Right.
Like,
Precious.
she's
Precious is the word.
Right. Because, because for her, it's like everything it took
Right.
to bring this life into this world.
It
Of
took
course
so
this baby
much.
is beautiful. Of course, I don't care what y'all say about my child. You know what I mean? Like, everything that had to do to bring this life into this world, or for us to bring the works of indigos into the world. Every people, even, I feel like, sometimes in our community, people maybe see us doing some work and they think, oh, this is easy for y'all. No, they don't know. Every season we'd be like, oh my gosh, like,
It's
like
a
I
new
was
challenge.
saying,
It's a new thing that we have to, like, work around or figure out or adjust. Every year it's a risk. Like, ooh, is it all going to come together? When we finally get into the room together, are we all going to be able to, feel? Are they going to feel the love that we poured into this? Are they going to receive the gift that we are hoping will make a change or make an impact of some sort or be of some kind of support? Are we going to be able to get that across? And hopefully to every person that comes into that space, the healing wheel is such a risk. The fact that us here decided to keep carrying it on when it was the baby of Mama Nia. That was her baby. It was her brainchild. And with her presence as the creatrix of it, the the curator, the um, the priestess, and her role as the social worker and the therapist. You know, she encompassed that role, and then we had to do it without her presence. You know, her physical presence, and do it inside of our own grief. The risk that we took, I mean, the leap of faith that we had to take, and being able to say, oh my gosh, how do we be all that she was? Or, you know, how do we make this happen? And then to know that, you know, on the other side of that first one, as up and down as it was, and as much as we cried, and as much as we cried through it all, but you know, and then in the years since then, how we've grown it, I think, into, you know, an extension of that vision that she had. And it has been such a wonderful, affirming and developing project, not just to the women that participated, but also to each one of us individually, and grown our own skills. We've grown our own selves.
Ashe. And I think that takes us to what Indigo's is all about, right? When she started Indigo's Cultural Arts Centers and chose that name, right? I want to read a little bit about what indigo means. What is an indigo child, right? Because remember, that was her focus, was on cultural education for children, rites of passage programs, and things like that with this particular group of human beings. And so this is from Gaia.com. This is not from my own, I'm quoting. It says, what is an indigo child? An indigo child is a spiritually gifted member of a new generation, often described as strong willed, empathetic, and deeply intuitive. The term comes from the belief that many are born with an indigo aura linked to the third eye chakra, wisdom, and spiritual insight. Indigos are thought to possess intuitive abilities, creativity, hello, and an inner drive to challenge unjust systems. They're seen as old souls on a spiritual journey, and they are viewed as visionaries who resist conformity, promote justice, and represent a broader shift in consciousness. This is indigos, the indigos that we're talking about when we talk about indigos cultural arts centers. It belongs to these human beings of a particular generation, but not limited to a particular, 1 or 2 years, right? We're talking about people born in the 70s, 80s. Some indigo children are even still being born today, right? In the 2000s. But this idea that these people who we are describing, right? I think we are indigo children, right? Who have these gifts. Think about this deep conversation we're having about creativity, and I look at us, the four of us, and we talk about those four types of indigo children. We all embody these things, right? We are not here to play around with injustice, right? We're not here for it, and we are all the way here for creativity, right? And empathy. I was about to say empathy, empathy, right? Right, and spiritual insight. That's how we walk and move in the world, and it's a beautiful thing.
What was the other thing? The challenging something. It was something about
Challenging systems.
challenging systems. Yeah.
A challenge unjust systems and an inner drive, right? It's not like, oh, somebody said, hey, we're going to go down and march. Oh, okay, that looks cool. Let's go do that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with seeing somebody else on a mission and saying, hey, I like the mission you on. I'm going to get with that. But indigo children got that. It's inside. It's like something burning inside of you. It's like, nah, son, this ain't right. This ain't right.
Yeah.
I got to do something about this. I got to rally the troops, right? Those are the indigo children. Absolutely. Right.
Just the forethought of, and we're still growing into that name. You know what I mean? Like we're still like growing into that. It's just so. Again, our founder was just so profound. She could see, as your mom would say, Mama J, see she would see around corners. It's just like how in 2010, I think when that articles of incorporation were filed, you know, with that name, to see that was before. I mean, a lot of the work that we grew into doing. You know,
It's owning it.
yeah,
It's an owning it. It's a saying, hey, I'm here to do something special, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to name it, and I'm going to do it. Ain't nobody got time to be playing these games. Come on. It's the Coochie Jacquelia of it all.
But then you have to agree, though. See, the other thing about it is everybody in this room had to agree. It was one thing for her to say, "This is what I'm doing," but we could have. Any one of us at any moment could have just said, "Yeah, well, you go ahead, sis. I'm not part of that club, right?" But it's making. But when you decide that you're gonna lock arms with the sis next to you, even if you don't understand the dream, the vision, the motivation of it all, but knowing that it feels right, it sounds true, it looks like something that an idea whose time has come. Why not? And then you kind of decide that, okay, well, if you're going, I'm not going to leave you out there by yourself to do it. I'm going to stand with you because I think that you're onto something. I think that this is something that is valuable. I think this is something our society needs. Why wouldn't I stand next to you while you do it? And then that's really what has to happen, is like, there's a synergy that comes when people of like mind and like vision decide that, we're going to do it. We're not stopping.
it builds momentum.
It builds.
I'm sitting here with this piece, and I'm getting ready to read another piece, and I swear it's like Mama J. I feel like Mama J has read everything, like everything that has ever been written. Because I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, how does she know what I'm about to read? She's so wise. This is so wise. So on the same website, the Gaia.com, there's types of indigo children, right? And it says spiritual teachers often describe 4 main types of indigo children, each with its own strengths. You have humanists, who are compassionate helpers drawn to health, education, or social service. Artists, creative innovators who express truth and inspire transformation. Conceptuals, analytic and system focused, seeking to rebuild outdated structures. And then interdimensionals, spiritually advanced with profound psychic abilities, able to act as bridges between realms. And then this is the part that I was looking at as Mama J was talking. It says, each type of indigo child expresses the same mission, guiding humanity forward, but in different ways. Right? Like we all here on this mission, and we're going to lock arms and do it differently. And I think that's, not I think, but I know that's a large part of the reason why our sisterhood has evolved as it has, because we honor our each individual mission, and we say, and I lock arm with you, you're going to do it that way, you do it that way. We all have the same mission of guiding humanity forward, bringing culture to the people, right? Bringing love and humanity and compassion to the people and justice to the people. But we all have a slightly different way, right? That we do it, that we make it happen, that it lives in our body. But we lock arms and we forge ahead, united, right? With that umoja, right? With that coochie shagalia, powering each one of us in our own unique way.
And I love hearing things like in the community. Sometimes, I'll hear different, I'll just be in conversation with someone and they'll be like, oh my gosh, Yaya Nandara is so beautiful, or she's so creative, or whatever. And I think one time somebody came to me that didn't know that I knew you, Omilade, and was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a friend of mine I grew up with who is in education. I forgot where she teaches now, but I think she went to a conference or something. This was a few years ago. And she was like, oh my gosh, you know who you need to meet for, all the stuff that you do or whatever. I was like, who? She was like, I saw her at this educational event, I was like, who? And she was describing things. I was like, yeah, we need to get her for Kwanzaa. So you get a car. She was like, let me go to my car. Cause I think she had like a pamphlet or something from the event. And I was like, Dawn, I just talked texting her earlier today, you know. So to like hear these beautiful things about you all in your specific uniqueness, you know what I mean? Is just such a beautiful thing. And I love that about us. I love that about us. Yeah. So what would we say for women who maybe are like, what does it mean to be like when I think back to my or however old I was in 2010. Early 30s. Early 30s. In my early 30s. Like what advice would I have liked to have heard from a mama in the community at that time about the next phase of life that I was entering into? Because I find myself now, even with the healing wheel, like a lot of the ladies who came to the healing wheel last year were in that age range, like 20s, upper 20s, early 30s, you know? Right. So I don't know. I just kind of want us to kind of riff on that. Like what would we say to our 16-year ago selves about becoming moms in the community?
See, 16 years ago, not 16-year-old.
Yeah, 16 years ago.
I about to say, because at 16, that chick don't listen. I ain't saying nothing to her. But 16 years ago, so I'm 51, I'm about to be 52, so 16 years, that makes me 36. The math, is the math mathing? I think that makes me 36. Yeah. Oh, no? No, I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry.
10 years ago, 42. Yeah, so 16. That would make me about 36. So yes, mid 30s. Yeah, woo, child. I think for me, what I would say at that stage in my life, probably what I needed to know was that that I could do it, and that I would be okay, and that I don't and that it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. That you're not always going to get it right, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's what I needed to know.
Yeah, it's like every failure is a lesson. So keep going. It's a lesson. I mean, you can learn what not to do. You can learn what works. You can learn what other options you may have. You can always learn something, and you don't have to do it by yourself. And you can take your time. That's what I was sharing with another sister earlier, like last week. It's like you can do it and you don't have to rush. Like you can do it on your own time. You know, it doesn't have to be right now. Let's not look at life in comparison to other people. Like, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. Oh my God, I can't get it. I'm not getting it. Yes, you are. Just keep going. You are.
I would say something similar, like just believing in yourself, believing that when you get that unction, right, get that call, that you are, and I'm thinking about some young ladies in our community now, some young mamas in our community now that I would actually say this to. You're more ready than what you believe you are. And it really just takes a belief in yourself. It really does. Come on. You started with the 10. I know. Thank it. One thing that I learned is that sometimes other people can see your gifts better than you can see them in yourself. And we can be looking to hear the negative or what we're not doing right or where we're, but trust when another sister, another mama in the community says, baby, you got this, or I see that gift in you, or, trust that and just kind of, and walk it out. The only other thing I would say is like, take your time, because you're learning yourself, right? Even when you become a biological mother, right? You push your child out your womb, you're not an expert on motherhood. You know, you don't know what you're doing. You know, you're learning as you go. But it's your intention and your heart centered desire, intention to do it well, even with the mistakes, that makes it a beautiful experience. So I would say fail fast. Actually,
Okay.
I actually, some of the years, there was a number of years where I was like holding myself back. You know, Mama Nia would be like, "Oh, you could do this," and I'm like, "I don't know," you know. And it's just like, you're going to make mistakes, even in motherhood. You're going to make mistakes, so you might as well make them as quickly as possible. Fail fast, and keep going, and learn and accelerate, and just and keep going. So that is, now that I'm where I am now, where I am in life now, my age and everything, just where I am as a woman, I'm like, yo, don't waste time. Don't waste time not being as great as you can be in whatever phase of life you are now. Don't waste that time. Yeah.
I would say that there's no final destination. Like we expect that, when you get to a certain age, when I get here, I should be a finished product. You're never a finished product. This is a consistent and continuous process, and to trust the process, is what I would probably want to hear myself say. That there's a natural unfolding, and you can't get it wrong. You just have to really, really just trust the unfolding of life and let time speak.
And on that note, and we're gonna put a period on that. And so this has been an amazing conversation, and I really want to thank everyone for tuning in to Indigo's Ideas, where we get real cozy with conversation. They are colorful conversations about life, about love, and about the womanist journey. Because that's what we do, the womanist walk. Because that's what we do. And so I have been Mama Dawn.
Yeye Dandara.
Mama Anki Ma'at.
Hey, Mama Jamila Niera.
And right along with Indigo.
Thank you for tuning in. Follow us at Indigo's Cultural Arts Centers on Instagram and Facebook, and Indigo's Ideas on Spotify and YouTube. Stay tuned for our next episode. Bye for now.